Obama, and this is him talking about Ukraine. You will never see a NATO leftist successfully debate Ukraine. You'll never see these liberals test their ideas in the public square. This is why they support censorship and deplatforming, because their worldview you cannot defend or justify. So they send Obama out, the most charismatic of them all, to help get people to support the Ukraine war, because they lost like 1/3 of their support compared to last year. And that was as a few months ago. God knows what it's going to be as they get closer to the election, because they still haven't had the public debate, CJ. Wait till the public debate once Trump wins the nomination. Hell, once the Republican nomination starts, like when you're going to have Nikki Haley and Chris Christie debate Donald Trump, maybe Ron DeSantis may join them on that issue. Once the public debate really starts, haven't started yet, guys. Once the election starts, that way American people start paying attention. You're going to have Biden and, God forbid, you're going to have Biden and Bernie Sanders argue against Trump and Matt Gaetz from the right. AOC, Ted Cruz, because all of them going to fall in line with Donald Trump getting president. So you're going to have AOC quote tweeting Matt Gaetz complaining about his stance on advocating for peace. Like you guys have no idea how weird things about to get because of the Ukraine issue. So they're gonna need Obama to come out and do stuff like this. Now let's listen to Obama, the most charismatic of them all, right? Let's see how he defends the Ukraine issue. Let's see if it's gonna be a winning issue for them.
When Russia started its illegal invasion, the second invasion of Ukraine, I believe,
opposed to Obama's legal invasions and wars, I guess. Talking to one of the most prolific war criminals of this generation. Imagine you talking to the most prolific war criminal, the Michael Jordan of the military-industrial complex, and you talking about some other motherfucker. Unbelievable.
You said that democracies, it's a clarion call, it's a wake-up call. Democracies are getting flabby and feckless. Where does Ukraine, in your view, stand in the fight to preserve democracy?
I think it's vital. It's interesting. Before I left office, I gave speeches not just here in Athens, but also in Hamburg and in London. And one of the arguments I made is, do not take for granted the extraordinary achievement of the European Union and the fact that a continent that was racked by war and bloodshed for centuries was now as prosperous and as peaceful as any in history. And then now we've seen the first war on European soil in recent memory, and I think it was a wake-up call to Europe. And I think it was a wake-up.
Obama, you sneaky motherfucker. Once again, this is
wake-up call to Europe.
And he said, the first war we see in Europe. Obama, like, don't get mad at me. I didn't wage war against the Europeans. The guy who turned Libya to a slave state, or the first black president who waged war against Africa. But he's bragging to white people, to the white folk. He got on white folk media and said, hey, I didn't wage war in your countries. Only Putin did that. This is unbelievable. The biggest Uncle Tom that ever Uncle Tom ever.
It's so coonery, so coon-like to say something like that.
It doesn't give. There's no. I'm speechless. No greater portrayal of a people than Obama to black people. He waged war on our people. He destabilized Africa, Libya, killed Gaddafi, started the genocide in Yemen, funded the Palestinian genocide. Like, this guy is the Michael Jordan of scumbags.
Yes.
But he's going in front of white people and saying, love me because I didn't wage war on your country.
Obama essentially is the enslaved African that will be the house Negro going out saying, master, you don't need to whip these motherfuckers. Give me the whip and let me go out there and do some damage. That's essentially what Obama did. And you saw that with, Black Lives Matters was born out of what Obama was going through. Housing for Black America's percentage of housing, home ownership went down. Black wealth went down under Obama. He went in literally saying, look, white folk, I know you let me in. You let me be here. Now let me show you why I deserve to be here, because I'm going to do all this shit to black people. And that's what he did.
Barack Obama once said, I am very good at killing people. Me, like, what a great joke. He's joking about murdering people. What a great guy. I hate this guy. Like, I'm gonna be old as hell. I'm gonna be 80 years old. I'm like, man, fuck. You know how I'm gonna be that old guy on the porch, like, old man Nick talking about Obama again. Grandpa Nick don't shut the fuck up about Obama. I cannot emphasize how much damage this motherfucker did to our community, man. Like, and not only just the material, it's he killed the political aspirations of an entire youth. Like, the entire black youth got in politics because of this motherfucker, and now we all hate politics. Everyone my age hate politics, and they won't even. Some people don't even know it's because of him, but it's because of Barack Obama. Nigga, I remember in high school, they was like, Obama, nigga was back in politics. Never seen anyone talk about politics before. Now no one gives a fuck no more. I tell you guys a story. My sister said, man, I don't give a fuck. I already know this coming. Oh yeah, guys, I'm so hyped. So I told you guys my family. I'm going a little off topic, but I told you guys my family apolitical, right? So I was talking to my cousin, who I never ever talked about politics before. She been in politics because I got a show now, and she was talking to my aunt, and she was like, I never heard. She's like, my aunt told me from a young age that if you support Democrats or Republican, you are a fucking dumbass. So I never cared. So this literally like last week, I was so proud, guys. Like, so I love the fact that my people didn't fall for this shit. Like, can't explain this shit like me. They don't know shit like I do. But my aunt and my cousin never was in politics because they knew it was bullshit. First time they told me this last week. And I think Obama played a big part of this, guys. Nigga, everyone was into Obama, and then he became a piece of shit sellout of the highest order, and that killed political interest in the black community for an entire generation.
I think there's a lot of apolitical, or maybe not apolitical people, or just people who are not into it, had that conversation with their parent. I had the same conversation. Between my dad gives me the humor and the politics. That's where I get that from. And I remember as a kid, maybe 10 years old, he'd be talking and yelling at the TV about politics, and he'd be like, the only way to fix this corruption, I can't say it now. He would say the only way to fix this corruption is so deep seated. You have to put all of them in the building and do something to the building, basically. And he's like, and start all over. That's the only way. He's like, you keep any of them here, there's no way. It's too deep-seated corruption. And that was something that always stuck with me, even before I knew the blue-red game. I was just like, wow, yeah, I'm going with my dad. My dad said this, I'm going with what he said. And that's how I always approached it, even when I was still quasi-supporting the Democratic Party. When I did vote, because I would vote very infrequently because there was nothing that really motivated me. Yeah, and that's but why I always had that in the back of my head. I always had that.
And this little side conversation we're having is exactly why I strongly push back at people that pretend that Democrats or black people are pro-Democrat. They'll say, well, Barack Obama and the Democrats got 80-90% of the black vote. That does not mean that black people like Democrats. Because as you just said, there are a lot of people who vote Democrat out of habit because they out of their civil service. And there are a lot of people, like people in my family, who don't vote, don't pay attention to politics. And remember, this is most black people. Black people had the lowest voter turnout out of the demographics. Over 50% of us don't vote. So that means 50% of us, including my aunt and my cousin. I'm glad I love that I got this new anecdote story. The same my sister said, the same my dad said, the same my brother. They're not into politics because they know they're full of shit. So when you say that black people like Democrats, you're ignoring at least 50% of black people who are not even engaged because they know it for shit. And then you gotta take independents. Then we didn't get to independents, Republicans. So it's an unbelievably false statement. But anyway, let's continue the clip. I'll let it play all the way through. I think I broke down most of what I wanted to break down here. I'm gonna play the part where he says it again, where he's like, "I didn't wait to work in Africa." I'll play this from this part all the way through.
By war. And bloodshed for centuries was now as prosperous and as peaceful as any in history. And then now we've seen the first war on European soil in recent memory. And I think it was a wake-up call to Europe. And I think it was a wake-up call to the West and to democracies around the world. That the old ways of thinking. Might makes right. Big countries can do what they want to small countries. That people cannot independently determine their futures. That those forces have to be confronted. Watching the Ukrainians themselves with such courage and bravery fight back, I think that reminded Europe of who they were. And I've been impressed by the degree to which, in not easy circumstances, Europe has stood up. It has provided the aid that was necessary. I think the Biden administration has very deftly managed maintaining that alliance to support Ukraine. And I believe the stakes are high to send a message to somebody like Putin that they are not going to just be able to willy-nilly determine the borders of other countries.
What a scumbag this guy is. Now, he's not the only one from his regime. I mean, because when you listen to this Obama speech, this is fucking Mao sound like a supervillain. Like, I told you guys, weaponized hypocrisy is the highest form of corruption. He over here condemning Putin for using his military against a smaller government. Obama, Libya says hi. Syria says hi. Yemen says hi. Like, the guy who took 2 wars and turned into 7. The guy who financially put financial stranglehold on the global south, including trying to overthrow Venezuela through financial sanctions, destabilize their entire economy. This guy, I think he has the moral authority to challenge Putin. Do you guys see why we cannot allow them to get away with this? You can see what they're doing. They're using this war to clean up their record. We're the humanitarians. It's Putin and them, the real war criminal. Weaponized hypocrisy is the highest form of corruption. I am telling you guys to memorize that. Because the proletariat must learn this. Because the ruling class think they can just get away with this shit. Get away with this kind of hypocrisy. This hypocrisy, this aggressive form of hypocrisy, this war criminal giving a lecture. I see Vena Catholic. I see you guys comments every once in a while. This guy laughed. He's that war criminal giving a lecture. Are we going to allow them to psyop and trick our culture and manufacture consent without a fight? This is why I started RBN. I will never allow these liberals to get away with this shit. The leftist mafia will. I bet you the leftist mafia not going to call this out.